I'm emceeing a line-up show, comedy club over at Laughs on Lygon. So it's a comedy club on Lygon Street. I don't know. I mean, when I first started comedy, I started out being like a self-deprecational comedian. I talk about myself a lot, rip on myself. But now, I don't know, I'm more of a diving into like a storytelling type of comedian. So I tell like long-form comedy, usually jokes around 2-3 minutes long. But also I like to push a bit of boundaries as well. Well, see, I talk about my background. It's like my father's a German Aboriginal man, so I tend to talk about that a lot. And I talk about, I don't look it, but a lot of people are very shocked. But I also talk about like cancer, because that's been a big part of my family, like with my dad and my mum. So like talk about that a lot, make fun. I feel like if I can make jokes about it, then it can try and like make everyone on board, you know what I mean? If you just go, well, cancer's an issue, everyone's like, oh, but if you go, alright, let's try and make a bit of light of it, you know what I mean? 5 years.
Yeah?
I've been doing comedy for 5 years. It's been pretty good. Yeah, I've done pretty well for 5 years. I've been on a couple of TV spots, got to write for a TV show, which was pretty good. I worked on Black Comedy, ABC's Black Comedy. It's an Indigenous sketch show. Worked on the last season, season 4. And I got to do it. I was on Australia's Got Talent a couple of years ago. I don't have work at the moment. I was working in an office, but COVID, so I lost my job during the COVID. And then in lockdown, I was like, I want to see how comedy goes. So I'm just trying to see how it goes full time. And I was going to look for work before festival. And I got Comedy Festival, and then I'm up in Sydney for the Sydney Comedy Festival right after. So I'm just seeing how it goes. And obviously, if it's not going that well, I'll look for a job. But it's been going well so far. So, yeah, for sure. I think COVID, especially with comedy, it taught us how much we treasure comedy. You know what I mean? As someone who did this part-time pre-COVID, and then when you take that away from us for 7 months, we realised just how much our life revolves around comedy, and how much we miss going to gigs, seeing live audiences, whether we bomb or we crush. Having that audience in front of us, that interaction, really fuels us. And so when COVID ended, I was like, I need to do this. I just love it. You know what I mean? I've always been in high school. I was that class clown, so like I was always making jokes all the time. I was that one in class that was always making sure everyone was laughing. When I played sport, I was always the one that was like the one who would G everyone up and make sure everyone's laughing, having a good time. And then, outside of high school, I was like, I want to do stand-up. I dropped out of law school. I was studying to be a lawyer, and a year and a half in, it would have been May 2016, I decided to drop. I started comedy in March 2016, right after high school, and then I was like, I could see what I was more passionate about, and I was like, I'm gonna do stand-up. And in 2017 is when I dropped out. So a year after I had been at uni, I was like, I'm gonna do stand-up.
When your parents found out that you were dropping out of law school after a year and a half, I'm presuming they did not buy you a bottle of champagne, slap you on the back and say, good on you, son, follow your dream.
Mum was kind of okay with it, because I came home and I told them both, they were both there, and I was like, I dropped out of law, I want to do comedy. Mum was, she's always been that person who's like, chase your dreams if you want to do what you want to do. But Dad was, he didn't talk to me for a few days. He was like, I put you into law school and this is what happens. And because I obviously paid through Hex, but he was the one who was like, you have to do comedy, you have to do law, I want you to be a lawyer.
Was it a good decision to make?
Yeah, for sure. I would have been the worst lawyer. Yeah, and all my friends who have graduated, I've been seeing them and how hard it's been for them to go into law. And I would have graduated during COVID, so it would have been the most difficult time to become a lawyer. I think the best is just that joy that we get from a sold-out crowd. You know what I mean? When you perform to a huge crowd, just knowing that they're there to they're paying to see you, and that's also the best feeling. And the worst feeling is when it doesn't go that well. When people usually come to, you see them in the crowd, and then they really just aren't there for comedy. And that's also the fucking stalemate of the comedy scene. You know what I mean? Like those shit gigs, they really make it tough. I think it's work. The work climate in general is great for progressive in a progressive stance. Obviously, we want to be better as a country, as a community. But I feel like they should take that away from comedy. I believe comedy is comedy, as long as you don't have an ill intent behind the jokes you say. And obviously, as others have mentioned, if you come from a place of your own, being, like as long as you're not punching down against a minority, as long as you're not punching them with the intent of punching down, as long as you know and the audience know there's no ill intent behind the joke, I feel like we should be able to say whatever we want. I mean, in terms of the GOAT, it's probably Dave Chappelle, but right now I'm with Bill Burr, Andrew Schulz, Mark Norman. At the moment, Bill Burr is probably the biggest inspiration. He just doesn't give a shit. That's what I love about Bill is that he tells it how it is and he does not care. And like obviously he doesn't. Whatever he says doesn't come from a place of hate. He just tries to make. He knows that it will get a laugh, and he has his crowd. So he's not going to get cancelled. He's not going to get banned from clubs. He has his own crowd, and he just does not give a shit. Well, as someone who's really atheist, I don't really believe in any god. But I feel like I'm my own comedian, I feel like if anyone's picking up the jokes or thinking of the premises, the material, it's coming from myself and my background, so I feel like I'm not really influenced by a comedy god. I feel like we're all in this together. We're a comedy society rather than a comedy god. Obviously, there's some comedians nowadays who are like they're just doing it for fun, or some are just trying to see what happens as a hobby. But since I dropped out of law school, I need to make it. I want to make it, so that's the dream. I legit just sit at home and play Warzone. That's all I do. I just video game, I play basketball, and then every night, I gig every night. So
is that how you support yourself?
Yeah, pretty much at the moment, yeah. I run a comedy club, which every Wednesday on Lygon Street, which kind of puts a bit of money in my pocket. So I run a comedy club called Laughs on Lygon. Me and a fellow comedian, Damien Bosk, we started in COVID. We decided we were going to run a comedy club after COVID, and it's been pretty well. We get some great up and coming comedians, and get some big pros in, and hopefully it can be a long term route. Yeah, so I do MC work, footy clubs, road trip gigs, and at the moment it's supporting. No, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people ask that. They're like, if you do comedy, you must get all the girls. And not really, no. In fact, it just makes dating weirder. Because when women find out you do comedy, that you have this expectation to be funny. And whenever I go on dates or if I'm having coffee with someone, they just expect them to be funny. It's like, why can't I be that law school dropout Gavin? You know what I mean? That guy who's just a nice guy, who's buying for your breakfast right now. I shouldn't have to make jokes about it. But it hasn't worked so far.